Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. I am one of your hosts this week, Professor Chris G. I think I said my name right. On the other line with me is my good old pal, the real champion of this show. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, my man, how you doing?
You know, it's every once in a while it's nice to get a little bit of recognition. You know, I mean, I don't ask for it. I don't pat myself on the back, but I feel like I'm the person that keeps this show together. So I mean, it's nice to hear you say it once in a while.
Of course, man. Of course. You got to keep this boat rocking when we need it, especially when things go south.
When the boat's rocking, don't come a knocking. No, but seriously, I'm good. I'm happy to be here for another mashup episode.
Yes.
Let's see.
These episodes are taking off, by the way. People like these mashups.
Yes. And that's awesome to hear. I've been curious about that, but I'm glad that people seem to be liking it as much as we like to do them.
Yes, so that I guess doing these episodes the way that we're doing it is the proper way to getting through some of these episodes. So, but yes, everyone, you clicked on another mashup, and you will be getting 3 new Pokemon card codes towards the end of this podcast, so don't miss it. I'm just gonna do a little housekeeping real quick. Make sure you have your TCG game on, because I hate getting the messages, oh, are you really giving out? Yes, I'm giving out these codes, but someone's beating you to it. So I'm just going to throw it out there that the codes will be towards the end of the podcast. Make sure your game is on. It's first come, first serve. There will be 3 codes. There's 3 opportunities to catch one. But if you think that you're being beat by our Patreon subscribers, go ahead and subscribe to us on patreon.com/every Pokemon. You'll get these episodes sooner and a better chance of getting these packs open. And outside of that, if you cannot support us on Patreon, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button real quick on Spotify. They are the official sponsor of this podcast, and they help keep the lights on and help keep us doing what we're doing every single week for all of you. So I just want to go ahead and throw that on out there. That's the most that I'm going to spend on that subject, because hey, I don't use the codes. You guys use the codes. So, and I'm not trying to be a dick saying it, but I mean, when I get those messages that say, hey, I'm trying to redeem these codes, that means someone beat you to it. So, sorry. But yeah, let's go ahead and get on into this mashup, Doug. Today we are doing the next 3 episodes of the Orange Islands. We are doing the Spore Detour, or translated from Japanese, Nyoromo and Kasumi. We're also doing Hello Pummelo, or translated from Japanese, Winners Cup Full Battle 6 vs 6. And then the last one we're doing for today is Enter the Dragonite, or translated from Japanese, Final Battle. I'm gonna butcher this, so don't hate me. Kairyu appears. So I guess that's the name of Dragonite in Japanese. Again, I probably butchered it, but that's the best that I can do. So, but yeah, we're doing those 3 episodes. The first one, the Spore Detour, premiered in Japan August 26, 1999, and here in the States September 16th. And then the Hello Pummelo premiered in Japan September 2nd of 1999, and Enter Dragonite premiered in Japan September 9th of 1999. But both of those episodes premiered here in the States on the same day of September 23rd, 2000. So They got both
I
of
would
them.
hope so.
Yeah, I know. Could you imagine being on a cliffhanger for an entire week, waiting for the results of Ash winning the Orange Island Trophy?
I mean, it was bad enough when we were watching because, and correct me if I'm way off base, but like the shows we used to watch, didn't they used to be Monday through Friday?
Yep.
They would be new episodes, so like the most you would have to wait was that gap between Friday and Monday.
Yeah. Or so there was a couple shows, and this can kind of be our preamble. So
Yeah.
I would watch Power Rangers as a child Monday through Friday, but Fridays would be the new episodes. So and
Oh,
so Friday, I believe around 4 or 5 on Fox Kids, they would have the new episode of Power Rangers. And if you were lucky enough, if Fox was savvy enough, and they were doing like a 2-parter episode, hopefully the day before you would get that part 1 episode replayed. But half the time you wasn't that lucky. So I would have my dad have a VHS tape ready to record, and hopefully the VHS recorder was working properly to record your show. So,
right.
so I would watch that. Pokemon did have periodic episodes that premiered during the weekday, which I hated because me as a child, my school bus would be arriving as the episode is getting ready to start. So
Right.
I really hated that. But for the most part, we did get new episodes of Pokemon. I believe it was Sunday mornings on the Kids WB. I believe that was the day. I don't think it was Saturdays because I think Saturdays
Uh,
was Fox.
it was 50-50, but I think you're right. I think it was Sunday.
Yeah. So, and I believe I talked about that in the past. But yeah, you would get new episodes of things on Fox either on Fridays, or definitely you would get a new episode on Saturdays on Fox Kids. So those were my times. I would get my Lucky Charms or my Captain Crunch, eat half the box while watching a 2-hour stretch of my favorite shows on Fox. Loved it.
Phew. Half the box.
I know. Talk about cavities, right? I was like,
I'm telling.
my teeth will fall out pretty soon. I'm gonna grow some new ones. It's all good.
These are babies anyway. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't need to learn how to brush my teeth until after all these fall out.
Yeah.
I'm joking, people. I'm joking.
Yes.
But
The views on this podcast are those of the host and do not reflect the.
do not reflect what you should do in your normal life.
We're gonna get freaking.
Letters
We're
from
gonna
parents.
get letters and stuff on Twitter. My child threw away his toothbrush.
He said Professor Chris G and Dougie Fresh told him that his baby teeth don't matter, so he's gonna eat whatever he wants.
Said something along the lines of they're gonna fall out anyway.
And my message back, I would be like, well, your child should not be listening to this podcast because this podcast is for people 18 years or older recommended. So maybe you should and monitor what your kids are listening to on a normal basis.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get so many letters for saying that, but I don't care.
There you go, bro.
I don't care. We've said it a million times on this show. But all right, but this episode or this mashup episode is going to be pretty straight through. I think we'll spend a little bit more time on the Spore Detour as much as we can, because once we get into this battle for the Orange Islands, it's gonna be just straight through. So because it's literally a battle for 2 episodes. So
Exactly.
so but I do have some notes here, some things that I wanted to talk about in regards to each episode, but definitely in the Stun Spore episode, even though it was kind of a filler episode, like why was Misty diving into the damn water in her regular clothes when she has like bikinis and stuff in her backpack. But I don't know. We'll get into that when we get into this episode.
Can't be too sexy with these shows now.
Apparently not. I mean, we won't be able to show the episode because James got boobs. Can't be showing no little kids a man with boobs. What the hell's wrong with you? All right.
Yeah.
So
what do you think this is? 2024?
For real. All right. Let's go ahead and jump on in. I'm gonna go ahead and get this episode up here so we can go ahead.
I don't know if you were a couple steps ahead of me. Did the website we usually use give you pushback?
No, not this week.
Okay. Sometimes because I
know if I have my ad blocker on, it'll sometimes give me a little bit of a pushback. But
no, for some reason, and we're going out of our way to not name the site because it's not exactly
legit
endorsed by the Pokemon Company. It wanted me to sign in.
Oh, okay. I did. I mean, maybe I don't get it because I did subscribe to their website.
Oh, okay.
So, anytime I go onto their website, I do log in and it saves what episode I've watched last on their website. So
I would sign up for their website if their videos provided captions.
You can't be too picky, bro.
The hell I can't.
Oh man.
Oh Lord, it's gonna be one of those shows.
Yeah, it is. But all right, everyone, we're gonna start off with the Stun Spore Detour. Cue in the Pokeball noise. So the Stun Spore Detour. So we're fresh off the tails of Ash winning his last gym badge, and him and Pikachu are kind of standing. They're on some island, and they're standing on like some rocks with some waves splashing up against them. And Ash and Pikachu are looking out, and they're like, "You know what? We're gonna win this. We got this. We're gonna do a great job." And you just see the water just splash up and just freaking drench our heroes as they're sitting there, and Pikachu and Ash are hyping each other up because why the hell not? They deserve it. I think
Yeah.
if me and you were to go around and get these badges in real life and win these Pokemon battles, I think me and you would do the same thing. We're like, yeah, we got it. We effing got it. We're going to do it. Yeah, let's do this. Right, Doug?
Oh, if we were running around winning battles, catching Pokemon, you wouldn't be able to shut us up.
Bro, if I could, there's going to come a time one day where someone's going to think of how to capture animals into a spear-like ball, and it's just going to fuck everything up.
I don't know if I want to think about that. I don't know if I want to, because you're leaning more towards Power World than Pokemon.
No, I don't want them to be able to capture me in the ball. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I'm talking about just capturing like animals, like figuring out an algorithm to freaking do it.
I see.
We're really on a hot streak, Pikachu. We're so hot, we're on fire! Pikachu!
But yeah, we come right off the tails of that, and we see Tracy with a wild Vileplume, and he wants to sit there and document all of these all of the details on the Vileplume. And Tracy's like, "Oh, Ash, come on over. Come on over and you can see what I've been drawing and the details that I've been putting on." And Ash is like, "Oh, okay, I'm coming right on over." And clumsy old Ash freaking trips on a rock. And after he trips on a rock, runs into Tracy, and both Ash and Tracy go and fall head first into the top of Vileplume's head, and Vileplume does a stun spore and just freaking wrecks the both of them. So Pikachu just goes and starts running away, bro, and just starts freaking out. And I'm gonna hand this part over to you, because Pikachu has to go get Misty now at this point, and has to persuade Misty to come over and help our heroes.
So Pikachu goes running off like Lassie when Timmy falls down the well, and this is when we see Misty for the first time in the episode, and she's walking along with Psyduck, and Pikachu's trying to like kind of get Misty to understand that he's flopping pee 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 pee, and Misty's kind of getting it, but she's like, she can tell that something is wrong, but she's not quite getting that final leap. And Pikachu kind of screws its ears up to kind of look like Ash's hairdo a little bit. And I don't know, you might have to make this the thumbnail for this particular portion of the episode.
Yeah.
It's either that or Tracy and Ash laid out in the cabin, but I kind of would. And Misty's like, "Oh, is something wrong with Ash?" And then on cue, freaking Tracy and Ash come wobbling into frame, and they're like, "We can't move," and then we can't move rather. And they both kind of fall sitting back to back, and they're done, and they're like, we fell in and the stun spore, and Misty's like, "Oh my gosh," and Pikachu's kind of looking crestfallen, and then we get the title screen, and something I made note of is that Misty actually does this narration.
The Spore Detour!
Which I feel like doesn't happen a lot, where it's not Ash doing the title announcement.
Correct, because Ash is laid out, so how can Ash do the title sequence?
All right.
So
I did make note of that, because I was like, that's probably one of the handful of times it's ever happened where somebody other than Ash does the title announcement.
So it's at this point that our heroes are kind of laid out. Tracy and Ash are laid out in a cabin, and Misty's trying to find some antidote. She's like, "Oh, there has to be some around here somewhere. There has to be some." And it's at this point that Tracy's like, "I don't think we have any, but check the Pokédex and see if there's a cure for this." And of course, Misty goes and she's checking the Pokédex and she's typing in whatever she needs to type in.
An effective sunspore antidote can be made by boiling the leaves of the Salveo weed.
I wonder where I find that.
Salveo weed is found on clear lake bottoms wherever Vileplume live. Poliwag are also found in the vicinity of this plant.
Poliwag?
Find it, Misty. Go find that Salveo weed.
Don't worry, Tracy. I'll find it no matter what. Let's go, Togepi. Pikachu, you better stay here and take care of Ash and Tracy while we're gone.
And I just want to point out just something very cute and off topic here. Like during this scene, Togepi has learned a new dance, and Togepi during this scene is just full blown just twirling and doing some type of ballet during this scene, and it's just so cute the way that Togepi's doing it.
Just not a care in the world. Just doing its little jig.
Yes. So so she tells Pikachu to take care of Ash and Tracy while her and Togepi go and find this Salveoweed. And then we also end up finding out in this time frame that good old Jessie was messing around and she got stun spored as well. And it's now up to Meowth and James to go out and find some Salveo weed to help cure her as well. Because if there's one odd bunch, there's a second odd bunch. Right, Doug?
And we find out that Meowth and James have been looking for an apple. And we come back to another cabin. So apparently this island is just lousy with random cabins all over the place. And she's like, "Well, when I roll over from my fever dream, I want to be able to look at something with as bright of skin as I have," because she's like, "Oh, this stun spore poisoning
Messed up her skin.
messing up my skin, turning me red." And Meowth's kind of mad. He's like, "Did you really send us out there for a freaking apple just because, you're so vain and you're delirious with your fever?" And Jessie kind of snaps and she's like, "I'm sick. Leave me alone." And like she uses up like all her energy for like 5 minutes because she goes back down. And then we get description of what she was doing when she fell into the Vileplume in the first place, and they're kind of James and Meowth are kind of like, "Well, I guess it's up to us." And then we cut back to Misty and Togepi, and Misty's standing in the water in this lake, and she's rooting for the Salveo weed.
Wait, hold on real quick. I just want to show how like dumb Jessie was of how she fell into this damn Vileplume. She was literally skipping through some flowers. Just skipping through. I mean, and maybe this is not dumb, but she was skipping through and she literally jumps straight into the air. Like these flowers are going to brace her fall anyway, but she jumps up in like a diving form as if she's gonna do like a perfect dive and dive straight into Vileplume's head.
Right into Vileplume.
Like, what? I'm just throwing that out there.
Couldn't make it up if you wanted to.
I know, for real. But okay, you can continue, brother.
So yeah, Misty's rooting for the Salveo weed. She's not having any luck. She's looking around and she's looking back at Togepi's on the edge of this water, just laughing, dancing, having a gay old time. Pikachu is doting over Ash and Tracy, adjusting Ash's damp cloth and just looking all sorts of concerned. And then we cut back to James and Meowth, and they're also on the hunt for Salveo weeds. But Meowth has procured them some disguises because in Meowth's mind, if Team Rocket's just out here out in the open, they're going to be sitting ducks for whoever.
Yes. So they don't want to get caught doing nothing but trying to find this damn cure.
So they've got like identical outfits. They've got like, I would say, some capri style pants and like a green tinted shirt. And
they're trying to look like cats, it looks like.
They're trying to... Okay, see, I didn't catch that. See, so I'm glad Because I was like, they're supposed to be doing something. And Meowth, and that's doubly stupid on Meowth's part because Meowth literally is a cat. So all would have to do is not talk
Yes.
and just be a Pokemon. But I didn't. Okay, see, I didn't catch that.
It looks like that. At least that's what it looked like to me. It looked like they're walking around just trying to be cats, and I don't.
James is sitting there talking about we look like clowns, and they kind of do with the especially with the little buttons across their noses.
Yeah.
And so they're looking for the Salveo weed as well, and all of a sudden they hear some rustling in the water, and they hear a Poliwag, and when this Poliwag jumps out of the water, we see that it has a little bit of Salveo weed on its tail. And it's just a little baby Poliwag, so it's just happy to see people.
It looks like
And
it
then-
was just born, doesn't it? Like it
Yeah.
it literally looks like a baby, like straight up baby.
And I mean, maybe our baby radar is a little skewed because, as we know, Ash's Lapras is technically a baby, and you wouldn't know it by looking at it.
No.
So, James's first thought was, well, let's get it. So he throws out his Victory Bell, and obviously we know the hitch with James's Victory Bell is that it wants to get James at all times.
It just loves James.
Don't let it get away!
Victory Bell!
No, wait! Stop! Don't come after me! Go after that pretty little Poliwag!
I'll just have to catch you the old-fashioned way! You're not gonna get away from me!
But this time they got a freaking basket. They're like, gotcha. It's like Team Rocket has thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for all this equipment, but will not spend a $2 coin to get a freaking Pokeball.
Nah.
It's just too much for them.
Is that something that we've ever discussed on this show? Like, getting supplies as a Pokemon trainer?
Yeah, no, I mean, not really, but I mean, you would think going to a Pokemart just like you do in the game, and
Right.
And for a Pokeball, it's 200 coins. So I mean, if you think about it, like the way that we have our currency here in the U.S., that's like 200 pennies, so like $2 for a Pokeball, and I mean, well, and not even, but because Team Rocket makes their own Rocket Balls. They
Yes.
they literally have Team Rocket Balls, so I don't understand why they just don't purchase it straight from the source. And I'm sure
Because-
their balls are freaking better than a regular Pokeball. It has to be like a Great Ball or something, right?
I mean, you would think so, just based on the fact that they go through the hassle of making, the manufacturing process in the first place.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But I don't know. I'm just a small town bird lawyer. So the Poliwag gets away because, of course, the Poliwag gets away because, for goodness sakes, there's still 14 minutes left in the episode. So Misty's walking along with Togepi, and she's like, oh boy, I didn't have too much luck, finding that there Salveo weed. And wouldn't you know it, she comes across the same Poliwag that Team Rocket was chasing.
Yes, of
And-
course. Because what timing, right?
Poliwag runs behind Misty because she's like, oh, maybe she's friend. And Team Rocket pops up on the scene, and they're like, oh, there you are. And Misty's like, I don't think this Poliwag wants to go with you. And Meow's like, oh, it doesn't really have a choice. And
And,
Poliwag literally sitting there and shakes his head no.
and that's when we get the who's that Pokemon for this episode, and it's Dragonair.
Dragonair. And why?
You know what? You know what? Hear me out. So we find out the main Pokemon for the Orange Islands is a Dragonite. So I'll give it to them because this week, or well, for this episode is Dragonair. Next episode is Dragonite. Back to back.
I mean, and I guess in the second half of the battle episode, I guess it's
Electrode.
Electrode. Jesus
Yes.
criminy.
So I'll give them a pass on this one because they do go back to back Dragonair, Dragonite.
Okay, well, if you're giving them a pass, I won't protest too much.
But after the who's that Pokemon, we get a nice little Pokemon battle, and it's at this point where Victory Bell and Poliwhirl are battling, and a freaking wild Goldeen comes and just plays hacky sack with Victory Bell.
No. I have to stop you just because we'll get laters otherwise. That's Misty's Goldeen.
Oh, that's her Goldeen. Sorry, people. But Goldeen just starts playing hacky sack. James' face is like, what the hell? He's literally watching his Victory Bell just go up and down, up and down, up and down. And Missy's like, oh, good job, Goldeen. And Goldeen's like, I know.
Freaking Poliwag and Togepi are sitting there being cheerleaders. And we have a quick little cut of me out saying, why the hell don't you train that Victory Bell?
Why can't you train that Victory Bell to battle? It looked like a punching bag out there!
It could use some work. Next time, I choose you, Weezing.
Misty sends out her Staryu to blow away the smog screen that Weezing is putting out there, and then makes Weezing go blast off into the Netherlands, hopefully back to Misty. And she sends out her Psyduck, and it's at this point Meowth goes in and does a scratch attack on it, and Psyduck is like, well, whatever. And then Meowth goes in and does bite on Psyduck, and Psyduck's headache is getting even worse, and it does a psychic attack, and Meowth is like, oh shit. And Missy's like, oh yeah, my Psyduck knows psychic, and it just sends Meowth barreling into James. They go flying away, and I feel bad because all they're trying to do is get this weed so that they can make Jessie feel better as well. But when they go blasting away, Misty asks Poliwag if it can go down and get Salveo weed, and it's like Poliwag is like, oh, what's Salveo weed? And then she shows it in the Pokédex. It's like, oh, I know what that is. And Poliwag jumps into the water, goes down, grabs some, brings it up in its mouth. And Missy's like, oh, is there a lot more down there? And it's like, yeah. And she's like, all right, perfect. So she sends out her Staryu to go all the way down, and they all swim down. And Misty starts grabbing the Salveo weed at the bottom of the water. And Misty is in her regular well, I guess she didn't bring her backpack or any.
Is she wearing her shoes too?
Yeah, she is. So
yeah, I can't excuse that. I can't excuse it. Yeah, I can't excuse. Yeah, she is. She literally jumped in with her shoes. Yeah, if she would have at least taken her shoes off. You might argue, well, they're outside. It's going to dry out.
No, they're
but
right.
No, they're not, because she went fully underwater.
Yep, feet underwater.
Feet underwater. Like, yeah, and speaking of feet underwater, no breathing apparatus.
Nope. Well, I mean, I guess if it's just a pond, I guess you can get down to the bottom without a breathing apparatus. So it is just a little pond.
Phooey.
Because my uncle has a nice little pond, and we've gone swimming, and I've gone with my cousins, and my cousins have gone all the way down to the bottom without one. So and got scared shitless too. They
Well, yeah.
there was a big ass fucking fish down there that they didn't expect that was all the way down there. And they're like, oh shit.
That'll learn you.
He's probably listening to this and is like, hey, I didn't tell you to tell the whole world. Well, I didn't give your name yet. But yeah, they go and get all the Salveo weed. They come all the way back up. Misty, unbeknownst to Team Rocket, ends up leaving Team Rocket some Salveo weed because she knows that they were down there trying to find the weed as well. But she starts making her way back, and Pikachu jumps up and looks out the window, and is like, oh man, where is Misty? Ash and Tracy are just getting worse, because I'm sure the paralysis is getting even worse between Ash and Tracy. And I'm gonna hand this part over to you. I'm at the part on here right now where Misty just left the Paldeo weed for Team Rocket, and she's walking up to a nice woman.
So Misty leaves the Paldeo weed because she has a heart. Paldeo, Salveo, somewhere up. We've said it right at least once.
Yeah, Salveo. There we go.
And we find out that Poliwag wants to tag along because Poliwag has made a friend. So Misty's walking, and Poliwag has Togepi on its head. Very adorable. They pass like a nice tea set, and Misty's like, that's all well and good, but I have to keep going.
Yep.
She passes some makeup, and she's like, ooh, makeup. And then she takes a step onto the blanket that has the makeup on it, and it kind of gives a little bit. But she's like, no. Ash and Tracy are waiting for this weed, so I better get going. And she keeps going. And she sees like some snacks, and she's like, oh boy, these look delicious. But again, Ash and Tracy are waiting. And
this is one of the
Togepi
best outfits James has worn, I think, ever so far.
Togepi's mad because Togepi was about to grab one of those snacks, and she's like, oh, better keep going. And Togepi's kind of like, meh, but I'm going to go because you're mama. And then she's like, oh boy, whoever uses this road has some exquisite taste, because there's two dresses on mannequins, like fancy looking dresses. And I mean, this is like full on Bugs Bunny cartoon.
It is.
But they just keep going, and then James and me out there like, she must have some kind of willpower, because we've set 4 traps and didn't get her once. Me, I was like, oh, we'll get her. And his charm shines like he's up to no good. And that's when, as you pointed to, we see a nice old lady come into the road, has a baby carriage as well. And Misty's kind of like, oh, is that your baby? And she looks in, and
out comes Team Rocket.
And they do the motto, because it's almost 7 minutes left. They got to fit the motto in at some point.
I was about to say, because why the hell not?
And James, of course, because before he says his line about it being James, he has to wipe his makeup off because he's a man. Even though he had an episode where he had boobs, but we're not talking about that.
We never saw that.
And we never saw that episode. It never happened. And James throws out wheezing. Poliwag steps up and hits him with a double slap, knocks him back into the baby carriage, knocks the baby carriage down a cliff, and the freaking baby carriage does everything except explode.
I know. You noticed that too?
I was like, why didn't it explode? It would have exploded any other time. I mean, like I said, we're already basically in a Bugs Bunny cartoon. We might as, but anyway. So she's like, "Oh, thank you, Poliwag. That was really nice of you." And um, this is when Team Rocket pops back up. We see that they're beat up, but as we alluded to, we see that Misty has left some weed. And then she's like, "Yo, they're just trying to help their friend like I'm doing. They're not all bad." James and Meowth are walking back to their cabin. They're crying because they're like, "Oh, that twerp has a heart of gold. The other twerps are lucky to have a friend like her." And Misty comes around the corner. Pikachu's like, "Oh my God, you made it!" And they go in and they boil the Salveo weed. Misty hands Ash and Tracy some steaming mugs of tea, and she's like, "Be careful, it's very hot." And Ash is like, "I knew I could count on you." And then, we cut over to Team Rocket's cabin, and Jessie's basically pacing because she's impatient.
She's like, I need this. I need the Salveo. I need you guys to boil it. Come on.
And Meow's sitting there like, no shit. And, we do a quick time wipe, and we see that Jessie's feeling 100% better. We cut to James and Meowth, and they're kind of hesitant because obviously Misty was gracious enough to leave some, weed for them because she knew that they were in a similar predicament. But obviously, Jessie's just in charged up mode, and she's just, she's in battle mode. And then we cut back to our hero's cabin, and Tracy and Ash are feeling a heck of a lot better. And without even a second's warning, all of a sudden Arbok just comes crashing through the cabin. Just blah.
Yeah.
and they're ducking, and they're like, "What the heck was that?" And Jessie's like, I bet you're not too hot to battle, huh? And Ash is like, "I'll show you." And he's putting his freaking gloves on because he can't battle without his gloves. And Arbok's sending Poison Sting, and Pikachu's using Quick Attack to dodge, and Jessie's out there going, "Get him, get him, get him." And then she looks back, and we see that James and Meowth are hiding behind a rock, talking about, "We don't want to mess up your flow." And James is like, "I wonder if we can hide under this rock." And Pikachu jumps up and does a thunderbolt, knocks Arbok right back into Jessie. So Jessie's getting the electricity, and Jessie takes a hard thump, and she's like, "I wonder if that Salveo weed cures Thunder Shock as well."
And I just want to point out too that during this whole charade, Meowth and James, they don't want to do anything because Misty just helped them. So they're not helping Jessie out at all.
No.
But long story short, there's only like a couple seconds left in this episode. Pikachu does its Thunder Shock and fries Arbok.
I think what you really need, Jessie, is something that'll cure a terminal case of ingratitude.
Thanks again! We're blasting off again! They keep getting weirder.
It looks like everybody recovered from the stun spore.
Yeah.
Vika, Vika!
And Jessie James and Meowth are like, well, we hope you learned your lesson. I'm basically telling her that Ash and Tracy sit here and they thank Poliwag for their help. And Ash is like, well, we got to get going. And they end up just leaving the island on the back of Lapras because they are now on their way to the next island where Ash will battle for the Orange Island Cup. So.
And Misty has a pure Ash Ketchum moment because it's just kind of mutually agreed that Poliwag's going to come along with them. And the narrator makes mention of, everybody leaves the island healthy and Misty has a new Pokemon. We don't see
her catch it.
Yeah, we don't even see like the ceremonial, hey, you want to come with us? And she throws the Pokeball in the air. Just nothing. Just it's assumed. And then you're like, well, maybe that didn't stick. But then it's not these next two, but there's a battle, and I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just going a little bit ahead to prove my point. There's like a battle sequence in the Viva Las Lapras episode, and Misty just has Poliwag.
Yep.
So
just chilling there.
Just chilling, just on, But yeah, that was the episode. Filler is all get out, in my opinion.
Yes, 1000% filler. So, all right, everyone. So that was that episode, and we're gonna kind of just jump straight on into the next one, which is
Hello, Pummelo!
So this episode literally starts off where the last one finished. They're on the backs of Lapras. They're heading up towards the island, and we have what looks like it is because you can tell by the outline, but Lapras gets stunned a little bit because it sees a Dragonite literally zip by like a jet in the water. And Ash was standing up and just falls straight into the water with Pikachu on its back, by the way. And Ash was kind of like, he's like, whoa, what was that? And they're like, I'm not sure. But they get over to the island, and they're not wasting any time here.
No.
So they go straight from that. They dock onto the island, and Ash is now inside getting his badges scanned to make sure that they are legit badges won by him, and they're all in the system. And the guy at the counter is like, all of these are good. You will be good to start your battle tomorrow morning. And that's when Tracy is looking over at the Dragonite statue, and he's like, whoa. He's like, I wonder. And then he just starts crafting a photo of it. The guy at the counter takes them to the Pokemon Orange Islands museum, where they go inside and they're looking at all these statues, and you see all these statues, two prominent of Dragonite. You see a Venonat, and you see a Poliwrath and a Pidgeot. And it's at this point that the guy is sitting there telling them, he's like, the reason that the Orange Islands has all of these different battles is because not only do we like you to train with your Pokemon, but we want to know that you are kind of being trained as well in these challenges, that you're just as fit to be here as your Pokemon are. So he's going through all the challenges, and Ash is taking a look at the Dragonite statues, and the guy's like, yeah, he's like, the Dragonite statue is here because that's the leader's Dragonite, and the leader is named what is his name? Drake, right? Yeah, Drake.
Drake. I was gonna say it's something obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, that's Drake's main Pokemon, and that is the reason that Drake is undefeated over here on this island. So you do see photos of other people, but ever since Drake became the leader of the Orange Islands championships, he has not been defeated yet.
Right.
So and the museum that they're at, I should note, it's called the Palace of Victory, and it's a hall of fame of everyone that's ever stepped foot and won the championship. So I'm going to hand this part over to you, my brother, so you can get a piece of the pie here.
And we cut over, and we actually get to meet Drake for the first time. And he's kind of standing in the stadium talking about how, he's just waiting for the next worthy challenger, and
how he wishes that someone would push him to the limit.
And then this is when we see his Dragonite enter the picture, and he's like, what did you find? And then we just all of a sudden randomly cut, and we see that Team Rocket is just kind of hanging out, trying to be menacing.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably the most obvious Team Rocket's ever been. Like,
and Dragonite is at full power. Dragonite's not even weak yet, and they're going in there. This is just stupid.
No, Dragonite, I mean, he's just been getting his, like, daily laps in or whatever. And, so Team Rocket gets their motto in. And maybe this was a tactic by the show, because they're like, look, this is basically one long episode, this one and the next one.
Yes.
So why don't we introduce Team Rocket, early? I mean, for goodness sakes, it's like 4 minutes into the episode. So we can kind of establish that they're going to be, if not a threat, they're going to at least be a presence for the entire episode.
Which,
otherwise,
the foreshadowing was real.
Well, right. So Team Rocket does their motto, and obviously Drake isn't phased, because why would he be? And they're like, oh, we're going to take your Dragonite. And Drake's like, that's not going to happen. And what does he have Dragonite use?
I think it was Hyper Beam, wasn't it?
He's like Hyper Beam, and like freaking this Drake's Dragonite's Hyper Beam fills up the entire stadium.
That it did.
And they literally get blown out of the stadium. And from Team Rocket getting blasted off again, we hear Ash, because they're in the Pokemon Center, we hear Ash say, come on out, everybody. And we see them doing their attacks, and Pikachu's using Thunder, Charizard's using Flamethrower, Squirtle's using Water Gun. And we find out they're trying to wake up Snorlax. Because something I think we glossed over was that this championship battle is going to be 6-on-6.
Yes.
And Ash is kind of like, oh, I haven't had a 6-on-6 in a while. So they're trying to wake up Charizard. They're trying to wake up Snorlax, because you figure Pikachu, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charizard, Snorlax, and then he's like, I don't know. Wait, I'm missing somebody. Oh, Lapras. Duh.
Yeah, Lapras. Yeah.
Lapras, and it was going to be Snorlax, but they can't wake him up, and he's like trying to get Nurse Joy's attention, and Nurse Joy's like, well, when did Snorlax eat last?
And they
And
said
he's like,
just a few hours ago.
and she's like, well, that's no good. Snorlax is going to be out for like a week. And they're like, what am I supposed to do? I got a battle tomorrow. And so he gets on the horn to Oak's lab, and he's like, how am I supposed to know what Pokemon to choose to replace Snorlax if I don't know what Pokemon Drake has? And Professor Oak's kind of going down the list.
Well, you could pick Kingler. Its huge claw won a crushing victory for you at the Pokemon League. Then there's Muck, the amazing bulk that wilted Bellsprout, if I recall correctly. Or you might choose Tauros, the snorting, stomping, stampeding wild bull type. So, which one is it going to be?
I'm gonna go with Tauros. Huh?
Well, Tauros seems happy with your decision. Put the Pokeball with Snorlax in the transporter, and I'll get Tauros ready to make the switch.
He chooses Tauros, and we see the Tauros was happy. My thought about them not including every Tauros that he caught was because it's like, okay, he chooses Tauros. And then you have to have the discussion of, okay, do you choose one, or do you choose 6, or do you choose 8? You know, so it's like, no, he has one Tauros for the sake of the argument.
Yes, one Tauros. Because all the rest of them are there just to fertilize Professor Oak's grass.
Yeah. and we see how happy Tauros is, and they do the transfer, and Ash is like, oh, you know, sleep well, Snorlax. And Ash lets Tauros out of his Pokeball in a fucking crowded Pokemon Center.
Yep, untrained and everything.
Untrained and everything. First time he's been...
And they make note of it, too. They say there's a first time for everything. Come on out, Tauros. And you're letting a bull out in the middle of a Pokemon Center. Untrained.
Indoors.
Yes.
So we then have a quick cut to sunset, and we see Team Rocket is bound and determined to get back and find that Drake and find that Dragonite. And that's when we see the mobile billboard going through town talking about Drake's got a new trainer. Championship battle tomorrow. Come see the showdown.
Yeah, and they're like, huh, okay.
And they're like, I hope we get to see Dragonite.
So we go straight from that, and like we said, they're not playing around in this episode. We're literally halfway through, so we might end up just bunching these 2 episodes up together, everyone. So I'll just give you the cue when we're going to the next one, everyone. But yeah, we go in, and Ash and Drake, they have to do a handshake before the battle, and the announcer announces that this is standard for both trainers, so they have to do the handshake. And Drake is like, well, thank you for challenging. I'm hoping for an exciting battle. We find out that Dragonite is the Who's That Pokemon this week, and the stadium opens up. And from the stadium, you see a whole bunch of rocks with a pool in the middle, like a little pond. And the battling is on, bro. So I'm going to, normally I would start these, but this battle is so long, bro, I'm going to have you go ahead and start this battle off. Because he chooses Ditto, and Ash chooses Pikachu.
So, you know, obviously we had that episode with the Ditto. I kind of called shenanigans. Well, okay. I went through, and I know we're just barely starting the battle, and I'm already detouring the conversation. But
no, you're good. What's up?
I made note of this. So, the episode with Ditto, right, and the magician.
Yes.
his thing was his Ditto didn't do faces,
Correct.
right? Like he would do like a Machamp, and it would be the Machamp's body, but it would be Ditto's eyes and shit.
Yes, correct.
And I realized probably halfway through next episode, so not here, not when Ditto was relevant, but not until later. I was like, "Oh, you idiot! That was probably just that magician's problem. Like every other Ditto can do the whole." And I was like, "Okay."
Yes.
And I was like, "Wasn't that the whole hitch with Ditto?" And then I was like, "I bet you it was just that one Ditto." And then I went back and I went on to Bulbapedia, and they were like, "Yeah, this Ditto can't do." I was like, "Oh, so this Ditto couldn't do faces?" But okay.
But the other one could.
Like I literally like had a whole episode's worth. I was like, why was Drake's Ditto perfectly fine and
this
nothing was
one's
said
not.
about the face? I was like, I was so mad. So, Pikachu, leads off for Ash, and they both do dueling thunder attacks.
Ditto has transformed into a Pikachu.
Let's go, Pikachu! Use your thunder!
And it's a high-flying, high-voltage thunder attack from Pikachu, but Ditto's taking every jump and every fall. Despite the super shock, Ditto's still standing strong.
Ditto, thunder attack back!
Now Ditto's thundering Pikachu, but Pikachu proves it can take the heat.
Pikachu! Thunder Shock attack!
Ditto, use your thunder shock attack now!
This pair of Pokemon is pouring on the power. Something's gotta give.
Pikachu!
So right after they do the thunder shocks, it breaks up a whole bunch of rocks, which the other Ditto was hoping for. And when the rocks end up breaking, the Ditto is hopping on all the rocks as all the pieces of the other rock is hitting Pikachu while it's on the way down.
Yes.
And it's at this point that Pikachu is kind of hurt, and Ditto is like, "Oh, I'm gonna hop on all these." And then Ditto is standing strong. Pikachu has to get back up to its feet, but Pikachu is not down. So the Ditto starts using its agility attack going towards Ash's Pikachu. And Pikachu's trying to hit it. It's like zap, 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 zap. But the agility is just too fast. And it goes up and uses Thunder Shock. Pikachu goes on the ground to gather like elements of the ground to sustain itself, and sticks its tail into the air to use as a lightning rod. And Pikachu Conductor. Yeah. So it's using its tail as a conductor while it's on the ground, and the Thunderbolt or Thunder Shock doesn't do anything to Pikachu. But Pikachu then starts going in and using its agility attack. Now it's agility versus agility, and they both use a Thunder Shock attack where they both shock each other. And Pikachu gets right up, but this time Ditto gets slapped with a tail whip attack that has electricity coming out of it, and Ditto gets knocked out as Drake loses the first part of the Pokemon battle.
Ditto is unable to battle! Pikachu is the winner!
The first victory goes to challenger Ash Ketchum and Pikachu!
Right! I knew it! I knew Pikachu could hang in there and beat that Ditto! Way to go!
Oh, I get it. Ditto may be able to imitate attacks, but it can't control or change its basic physical condition. Ditto got worn out because Pikachu's in better shape.
Pikachu!
Ditto, return! You did a great job.
Onyx is coming out as the next part, and Ash sends out Squirtle.
Yes, Ash is so confident in himself. He's like, "Well, it's a Onyx," and he's like, I've got an easy type advantage if I use Squirtle." So he sends out Squirtle, and he tells Squirtle to use Water Gun, and Drake tells Squirtle, or tells Squirtle. Drake tells his Onyx,
There you go.
Jiminy Cricket, to dodge the water gun. So he dives underground, and Squirtle's like, "Well, where did he go?" And they're kind of sitting there, and
And they're
finally
looking around.
Tracy has to be like, "Tell Squirtle to move, because you don't know when Onyx is going to pop up."
Because
So
Onyx
Ash
used
is like,
dig everyone.
"Yes," and Ash tells Squirtle to head towards the water so that he could avoid Onyx. But he doesn't tell Squirtle to move until the ground starts shaking. So any element of timing that Ash and Squirtle would have had, he pissed away by standing there. And
Well, it wasn't even just that, but they had so Onyx went underground and knows that Squirtle is a water type, and since there's a pond in the middle, Onyx was just waiting there. Onyx dug himself underground and was like, Squirtle's gonna start running over to the water, but Squirtle could not get over to the water. And it's at that point that right before he's about to touch it, bam, out comes Onyx.
There it is! Onyx has smashed through, stunning Squirtle and sending it flying!
Squirtle, get to that pool before Onyx attacks!
Onyx, find Squirtle now!
Water gun now!
Onyx is putting the squeeze on Squirtle! Squirtle's squirming, but it can't seem to use its water gun attack!
Ash tells Squirtle to use water gun, which was stupid. Because the poor fella can't move. And then he's like, "Oh, withdraw." And Squirtle goes into his shell, and Drake's like, "But that's not going to do anything." And Ash is like, "Oh yeah, watch this." And he says, "Hydro pump." And freaking the hydro pump comes out of the shell, and it's a direct hit to Onyx. And Drake's like, "Oh my gosh." And it's a big scramble, and then Squirtle starts spinning in the hydro pump, and he's telling Onyx to hold on, and then
Ash tells Squirtle to just go in and use water gun at this point to finish Onyx off.
and he hits him with a skull bash, which I wouldn't think would work.
Well, when you're weak against the water, he was just weak against the water gun attack. So I mean, the skull bash was just the tipping point.
Just exactly, just the icing on the cake, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we find out that Onyx is unable to battle, so Ash is up 2-0.
On knockout move! That skull bash just turned on the lights and it looks like it's 99 for Onyx!
Onyx is unable to battle. Squirtle is the winner.
Squirtle, you did it! He got it!
That is the second consecutive defeat for Drake!
I thought for sure Bind Attack would stop Squirtle.
Drake's like, "I might be into something here," and he calls back. He calls back Onyx and tells him he had a good battle.
Now, and I might be thinking too much into it, but is it me, or should Drake train his other Pokemon the way that he's trained that Dragonite?
He absolutely should.
Because it seems like these two knockouts was way too quick. And Ash is getting a big head at this point. I just want to throw that out there because none of his Pokemon have been defeated yet. Yet he's already defeated 2 of the champions Pokemon. So Ash is like, "Oh man, this is going to be easy." So,
And Drake's got a good team. I mean, obviously, Ditto can be versatile, and Onyx, if nothing else, Onyx is big. And then we see that he throws out his next Pokemon, which is a Gengar. Now, we don't know if he caught a wild Gengar or if he evolved it from a Ghastly. So there's a potential that he could have trained up a Ghastly, which would imply some leveling up and stuff. But, and this might be a discussion for, as we're wrapping up, but I mean, since we're here, I think you hit on it. Because obviously Dragonite is the focal point.
Yes.
For goodness sakes, Dragonite's Pokeball is on Drake's necklace. But
my thing, I have a problem with this next part. Because when he sends out that Gengar, why did Ash send out Tauros?
Beginner's luck.
But out of all the Pokemon that he has, why Tauros?
He doesn't know why he even picked him in the first place.
Because I'm just sitting here and I'm like, what? Wait. Whoa, why? Why are you sending out Tauros? Me and my wife was watching this earlier today, and of course these type of episodes my wife was kind of into, but even she's like, wait a minute, wait. Why? And I was like, I don't know, babe. I was like, because it's Ash. And yeah, it's Ash. So he can I take over this part, bro?
Oh, by all means, go ahead.
Okay, so he sends out his Tauros, and his Tauros starts using Thrash on the floor, which sends a big wave into the ground, and it goes straight through the pond, and it's going towards Gengar. And Drake tells Gengar to kind of jump into the air at this point, and Tauros is looking up, and then Tauros is like, I'm going to prove myself worthy during this battle. And it's at this point that that Gengar starts using its Confuse Ray, which ends up confusing the mess out of Tauros, and Tauros starts hurting itself in confusion, which I'm so glad they put this in the anime, because I was in the video game, all you get is your Pokemon hurt itself in confusion. But how does it hurt itself in confusion? Well, this Tauros literally started taking its head and bashing it into rocks, which is not healthy.
No.
So
I don't care who you are.
So Ash calls back his damn Tauros, and he's like, all right. He's like, so who am I going to send out? I'm going to send out Lapras, which, okay. At least it's better than Tauros that he sent out. And Lapras goes out there, and Lapras is using its water gun on Gengar, and Gengar doesn't like that too much because it's actually hitting it. And what's the attack that that Gengar does? So he uses Nightshade.
Nightshade. I was going to say it's not Shadow Ball.
And Lapras starts using its Ice Beam attack, and we literally have a to be continued at this spot, because the Ice Beam and the Nightshade gets so freaking big, and then it explodes, and then that's when they say
the Pokemon's powerful dramatic attacks have collided head-on with explosive results. When the smoke clears, which one will be left standing, Gengar or Lapras? Find out in our next exciting episode.
But we're about to find out right fucking now, because we
we run the show and we can decide anyway.
So now it is time for Pokemon Enter the Dragonite, which is our next episode. So we literally start this episode just like we ended the last one with the big explosion, and we look down and both Gengar and Lapras can no longer continue during this Pokemon battle, so they are both eliminated out of the tournament.
The smoke still hasn't cleared from those two tremendous attacks, but in a moment we'll see who the winner is.
Lapras! Gengar! Both are unable to battle!
What a shocker! Both Pokemon are out of this competition!
Lapras, return! Lapras, you did great.
Gengar, return! Good work. You've earned a good rest.
This was the first Pokemon that Ash has lost and the third Pokemon that Drake has lost. So it's at this point that they're going into a small intermission and the battle stage is getting ready to get taken away. Doug, I'm going to have you go ahead and start this next part of the Pokemon battle.
So we have this moment with Drake, and he's kind of sitting there, and he's like, you're the secret weapon. I should be fine as long as I can get to you, which is dumb because it's 6-on-6. So like
have will in the rest of your Pokemon, man.
Yeah, you're kind of talking shit on. It's like, oh well. These other 5, these can be cannon fodder, but as long as I can get to you and take out a couple along the way, I should be fine. Like, no faith in the rest of your squad, I see.
Yeah, for real.
And, we see Ash is trying to keep himself limber, and we see Team Rocket is in the stands, and they're like, oh, this kid's not too bad. James is like, yeah, this is entertaining. And she's like, are you seriously rooting for him? And Meowth's like, well, you see, all he's really doing is weakening him so we can come along and scoop up that fantastic Dragonite.
Well, no, I think it was funny because James is sitting here because at this point, James wants to get up and go in and start interfering in this match, and they're like, wait, no, sit down, we're actually enjoying this. Which was hilarious.
And they're gonna call back to that relatively soon here.
Yes.
So they're like, oh, okay, so we're just gonna wait our time. And then so the field's changed, and Drake is down 3 falls to 1, with the last fall being a double knockout. So Drake throws out his next Pokemon, and it's a Venusaur.
Yes.
And
so it is obvious, Doug. It is obvious what Pokemon on his belt that he should use. Right, Doug? Right.
Right.
So
completely, day one stuff.
Yeah, day one. Venusaur, Drake literally picked the Pokemon first. He told you. This wasn't like it is now where they changed the Pokemon rule that you both have to throw out your Pokemon at the same time. No. Drake threw out his Pokemon first. So it's obvious who he should pick.
Poor guy can't help himself.
Because who should he pick, Doug?
It's Charizard.
Yes.
Yeah, duh.
He has a Charizard literally on his belt. But okay.
You would have had third evolution versus third evolution.
Great Pokemon battle.
Because Ash's first thought after he saw the Venusaur was, well, I can't throw out Bulbasaur. Like, no, you can't throw out Bulbasaur. He's like, what does he say? Squirtle's still weak or something. It's like, well, no, you idiot. You had your own third evolution. But he throws out Tauros, who has already been seen and is still a little
loopy.
still getting his feet under him.
As soon as he did that, I was like, why? Why? And my wife was like, well, I just said that before. And you just said it's because he's Ash. And I was like, well, I was like, shush. I was like, and I'm literally yelling at the cartoon because, I mean, it's been so long since I've seen this, but I forgot that he used Tauros because that's where my mind went. I'm literally playing right now. I'm playing a fan-made Pokemon Orange Islands ROM, okay?
Right.
When I get to this battle, I'm not using my goddamn Tauros. I'm gonna use my freaking Charizard and use freaking Fire Blast or Flamethrower on that sucker. Burn every damn leaf off of that Venusaur. Sorry, I'm too hyped.
Well, it's a battle episode. These tend to do it to us.
Yes.
So Tauros tries to use Thrash again, and because it's a sand stadium, Tauros' hooves are being
sucked in,
absorbed into the ground. So it's an ineffective move. Correct. And then Tauros is literally stuck. So Ash is like, "Oh my God, it's sand! I could not have seen this coming." And Venusaur is going for the freaking kill. He's going to use Solar Beam right off the rip. And Tracy's sitting there like, get him while he's charging up.
Yes. So
Tauros goes, which is bullshit. Ash shouldn't be able to have trainers down by the battle area. Let's just throw that out there. So Tauros goes charging up, and he meets Venusaur head on, and once again, Tauros can't get any traction in the sand. So they're literally butting heads. The Solar Beam is still charging up. Tauros flips the Venusaur in the air,
which I call bullshit.
Yeah, me too. Because if he could have done that,
he should have just did that from the jump.
The Venusaur has enough wherewithal to adjust itself midair and blast the Hyper Beam towards Tauros. Tauros comes out of the smoke. He's fine. Shenanigans. Drake's sitting there like, well, that's impressive.
I'm sure it was.
It's bunk is what it is, because this is a Tauros who has never seen battle, and he just took a full-on Solar Beam to the face and wasn't fake. Like, no, he's got to have like 15 hit points or something.
I know. But he took the Solar Beam. He gets right back up. Ash is like, "Oh man, I picked the right Tauros out of the whole bunch." And Drake is like, "All right, Venusaur, Vine Whip." And Tauros starts running towards Venusaur, who ends up whipping the mess out of him. And Ash is like, "Get back up, Tauros. We got a Pokemon battle to win." He's like, "Go back in, tackle again." And he goes back in. Venusaur starts using Vine Whip again. But this time, Tauros is able to get the full tackle in. He avoids all of the damn Vine Whips. And that tackle defeats that Venusaur.
Venusaur is unable to battle. You heard it, fans. The challenger has now defeated 4 of the champion's 6 Pokemon.
You put up a fine battle, Venusaur. Now I choose Electabuzz.
How weak is that goddamn Venusaur?
How weak is that Venusaur? That Venusaur must have just evolved.
He must have, dude. Because there
ain't
no way, right? Ain't no way.
No way.
So Venusaur is now done. So that is now 4 of Drake's 6 Pokemon that are out, and Ash has only lost his Lapras. Just throwing that out there.
And even in losing his Lapras, he eliminated the Gengar, so it was it was for the greater good.
Yeah.
So Drake's 5th Pokemon is an Electabuzz. And
Yep.
we pan over to Ash's Tauros, and we see Tauros is kind of like, okay, this is what battling feels like. This is okay. And he calls Ash calls Tauros back, and he's like, I don't know what to do. And it's like, well, you idiot. So he doesn't do what would have made sense. No. He introduces Bulbasaur into the mix.
Bro, I almost had a freaking heart attack on this one. Like, when he did this, I was like, what? Have you ever seen those memes of like the cats or dogs with the human voice dubbed in, and it's like, huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. That's literally how I was. I was looking right at it. Like, what? All the Pokemon you have on your belt? Like, huh? Like, you still aren't using your Charizard? Huh? Like, come on.
I mean, I get having an ace up your sleeve, and I understand that Bulbasaur might be fresh, but Electabuzz is Electabuzz.
Yep.
So Electabuzz tries an attack. Bulbasaur takes it full brunt, shakes it off. Ash is sitting there like, I got this. It's meant to be. And, he tells Bulbasaur to use Razor Leaf. Friggin' Electabuzz is pissed off. Bulbasaur goes in for a tackle. Electabuzz takes the tackle and hits him with an electric punch. And he rightfully, and you go, well, that's got to be it for Bulbasaur. Well, thankfully it is. There was a brief second where it's like, if Bulbasaur shakes this off, and you might argue, well, Bulbasaur is essentially an Ivysaur because he fought off that evolution. Well, he's still a Bulbasaur.
Yep.
So Bulbasaur is out, and Ash is kind of dumbstruck. He's like, oh, so I am allowed to lose. And he calls back Bulbasaur like, you had a good fight. No, he didn't.
No, you didn't.
He was outmatched. Well, our hero's hand is finally pushed, and he has to hit the big red Charizard button.
Which is what he should have used to start this damn battle. To start this part of the battle.
Right. So
God only knows you didn't use it with the frickin' Venusaur.
So he tries to hit Electabuzz with Flamethrower. Electabuzz dodges it and punches Charizard right in the stomach. Charizard's sitting there like, this doesn't tickle. He's sitting there trailing Charizard to shake out.
He's like, this
shake
sucks.
It off. And then frickin' he's sitting there and he's taking the full brunt of an electric attack from Electabuzz, and Charizard just like fires, and he throws out an ember to shake off the attack, and Drake's kind of like, well, that's a heck of a Charizard, and Charizard gets in the air and grabs Electabuzz, and he's going for a seismic toss.
Yes.
And you go, okay, this is like the A1 move. And he throws Electabuzz down, and Electabuzz is toast.
Electabuzz is unable to battle.
A shocking turnaround as Charizard combines offensive and defensive skills to toss Drake's Electabuzz right out of this match.
Good work, Electabuzz.
Now challenger Ash Ketchum is only one victory away from that winner's trophy.
So
that's 5 Pokemon.
Ash has 5 victories. He just needs one more. And we know who, the closer for Drake is going to be, because there's statues all over the stadium. It's not a secret.
And the episode is titled after it.
And the episode is titled after it, and we saw it last episode, and the tension, and everybody's kind of sitting there like, oh, here comes the Dragonite.
And then we get the Who's That Pokemon, Doug.
And we get the Who's That Pokemon because it's the smack middle of the episode. We find out that we find out that Who's That Pokemon is Tentacruel, which is going to be relevant next week.
Yep.
And we finally get our full-on look at Dragonite, and oh my god, it's a Dragonite. And then we get this cool face-off between Dragonite and Charizard.
Which might be the thumbnail for this part of the episode.
Which very well might be the thumbnail, because that's a badass little moment.
Yep.
And you can see the Dragonite's like, all right, it's time to clean up this mess. And Charizard's like, I'm a badass. And they freaking...
Charizard...
They meet in the middle.
Oh, I was about to say, Charizard uses his flamethrower, and then freaking... Who knew Dragonite knew how to use water gun?
Apparently Drake's Dragonite knows how to use water gun.
That's not a move I would have taught my Gyarados. I mean, my Dragonite, but hey, it's not my Dragonite.
It's not your Dragonite. And so Charizard gets in the air, and
he's like, I'm out of here.
Dragonite meets him, and they're like dueling attacks. Dragonite's trying to hit Charizard with Ice Beam, and in an effort to dodge Dragonite's Ice Beam, Charizard goes into a controlled tailspin, and he snaps out of it and hits Dragonite with a tackle, and Charizard goes to grab Dragonite like it grabbed the Electabuzz, but Dragonite is able to pull up just enough to get the leverage on Charizard and give it a taste of its own medicine with a full-on body slam.
Which was killer.
And
that was bomb.
Which is a fucking awesome sequence. And you're like, oh my god, Charizard's fucked. Well, Charizard is thankfully evolved. Because if that was a Charmeleon, well, if it's a Charmeleon, it's not going to be midair, but still. So Charizard's sitting there like, that wasn't fun. I'm usually the one doing the throwing. And apparently you can just call on Dragon Rage.
Yeah. Which it takes 2 freaking turns in the game to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But
they
Dragonite, they both knew it.
Yeah, they both. I mean, and you might sit there and go, well, how the hell does Dragonite know Dragon Rage? Bro, it's literally in his name.
Yes.
So they kind of cancel each other out, and they're both sitting there. They're like, I see you and I know the same moves. And
this is bullshit.
And then Charizard has this moment of, oh, right, I'm dead. And he just goes, bleh. And so they're like, oh my god, Charizard, like that was, and it's at that point we flash back to the stands, and James stands up, he's like, now's the chance. And Jesse literally pulls him up, he's like, shut up, we're enjoying this. So they've both done it to each other.
This is a good battle.
Like, I mean, we've been here for an episode and a half. We might as well just ride this out. And then Ash throws out Squirtle.
Why? Why?
I mean, he had to.
But if I'm a spectator and I'm watching this, okay, so you have to remember this is like real world stuff. So they're literally sitting in a stadium. You have a big ass Dragonite, and this throws in a not evolved, not anything Squirtle.
Right.
What? Huh? Huh? That's what I'm doing. But Squirtle gets in there, and as soon as Squirtle gets in, Squirtle's out.
Because he tries, what's he try? Hydro Pump, and Dragonite's like, yeah, I'm not messing around with that.
Yeah. So as soon as that happens, he tries to use Hydro Pump. Dragonite goes in and freaking hits Squirtle with its tail and is like, "Get your non-evolved ass out of here!" Boom, and Dragonite's like, "Oh, I'm still out of breath." But Squirtle's out, so Ash literally only has Pikachu and Tauros left in this Pokemon battle. And it's at this point Team Rocket's like, okay, this is our shot. And James is like, well, I thought we were watching. And Jesse's like, come on. And she just starts dragging him. And Ash sends out Tauros again. Team Rocket comes in and puts, I'm going to go through this like real quick because this was nothing. Team Rocket comes in, interferes in the battle, and they throw a big old net over Dragonite. Drake looks at Dragonite and literally says the words, "You know what to do." So he goes up there and goes and flies straight through the Team Rocket balloon, making the balloon go pop. And as soon as it goes pop, that's Team Rocket, and they are now out of the Pokemon episode. That was it.
They waited all that time, and they interfered for like 5 seconds.
Yes, and that was it. Literally, that was it.
That's it. That's it for them. There's like 6 minutes left in the episode, or 7 minutes left in the episode. And
Ash sends his Tauros in, and Tauros does a decent. I mean, Tauros has fought 3 Pokemon at this point during this thing, and so he put up a decent fight against this Dragonite for as short that it was. But Dragonite goes straight into the air. Ash tells his Tauros to run and then stop. And then once Tauros stops, Dragonite goes down, and he tells Tauros to stand his ground. Now, I want to know how Dragonite got to be like this, okay? Mm-hmm. So he swooped down, and he's head first. But the way that Tauros caught him is on his back.
Well, you see, a lot can happen in that cloud of smoke.
I guess. But he caught Dragonite on its back and then flings up Dragonite, but Dragonite goes in and does what looks like it's a Thunder Shock attack. So this Dragonite is just all over the place with attacks. And it's at that point Tauros is out.
Tauros is unable to battle.
Tauros was primed for victory, but even its stubborn brand of battling wasn't good enough to make the grade. Dragonite's taken out 3 of Ketchup's Pokemon in a row, and now both trainers are down to their last Pokemon.
I'm proud of you, Tauros. You did great. I guess it's up to you and me, Pikachu.
Oh, I hope Ash knows what he's doing.
The challenger's final Pokemon is Pikachu. Has it recharged its batteries after that battle with Ditto, or is it running too low on power to defeat Dragonite?
You know, it's mono and mono, and there's freaking 5 minutes left in the episode, and Dragonite's been through it, and Pikachu's been standing there watching how Dragonite battles, and Pikachu's using its agility, and Dragonite swings its tail, and it's a direct hit, and Pikachu's like, ah! And he lands flat on his back, and he shakes it off.
Yep.
He's like, that hurt. And friggin' Dragonite's powering up a hyper beam, and he fires the hyper beam, and we're sitting there and we're like, well, this is it for old Pikachu. And Pikachu uses right before the beam hits, you see Pikachu get on its back and kind of sit on its tail like a spring. And we're like, oh my god, Pikachu's fucked. And then Pikachu comes springing out of the smoke. And he's like, I'm alive. And I'm like, oh my god, Pikachu's alive. And Drake is like dumbfounded. He's like, how in the world
is my Dragonite not defeating this little tiny puny Pikachu?
And we literally we flash back to Pikachu using its tail, and we see that Dragonite is like, he's in the deep water. He is winded as fuck.
Yes.
And Pikachu lands on Dragonite's head, and he won't let go. And Dragonite's like, get off of my head. And he's like freaking... He's like rubbing his own face in the dirt, trying to get Pikachu off. And Pikachu's like holding on to Dragonite's antenna ears? What are we calling those?
I'm going to say his antennas.
And he's like holding on for dear life, and Dragonite's like, get off of my... And
he starts hitting his head on the ground to try to get Pikachu off of him, bro.
And Pikachu summons up all his strength and uses a Thunder Shock, and Dragonite's sitting there like, ah. And Pikachu's like, I'm giving it all I got. And friggin' Dragonite flings Pikachu off, and we're like, oh my god. And then Dragonite's like, this is bullshit. And this, you little rat. And they're huffing and puffing. And Pikachu's like, what do you got? And Dragonite's like, I don't know. What do you got? And
then, boom.
And then, much like Charizard earlier in the battle, Dragonite just has enough and gives up and faints.
And Drake is like, oh no!
They call the battle for Pikachu and Ash.
Dragonite is unable to battle. The winner of this competition is Ash Ketchum.
The challenger wins the match! The challenger wins the match! The challenger wins the match!
They all did it.
Pikachu? Pikachu, you're the best! Pikachu.
Dragonite, return. I'm very proud of you.
Ash Ketchum has beaten the undefeated Orange Crew champion, earning himself a place of honor in the Orange League Hall of Fame and the coveted winner's trophy!
You really deserve that trophy. You're a great Pokemon trainer.
'Cause I have great Pokemon!
We see all of Ash's Pokemon on the winner's stand, and he gets a little, kind of a puny trophy for all that work.
I mean, yes and no, but then we have like a little flash into the Pokemon Hall of Fame. And it is a little bit of a small trophy, but we see that all of his Pokemon took a nice little photo, and they have a cement block where every single Pokemon put its little stamp on,
footprint,
yep,
paw print, whatever.
What I want to know, and maybe you can tell me which Pokemon this was, bro, but when you're looking at the plaque, okay, who's the... So you see Tauros, you see Squirtle, you see Ash's hand, you see... Who else? Bulbasaur. Who's the big ear? Is that Charizard?
That's got to be Lapras. That's got to be Lapras. That's got to be Lapras's flipper.
Okay, Lapras. Okay, because I was like, that's Charizard up in the upper corner. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So there we go. But yeah.
It's got to be. Lapras's little flipper.
But Ash wins.
How mad are you? How mad are you if you're Snorlax and you go, motherfucker? If I would have just been awake.
Yep, he could have been in that picture, but they had to feed him. You had
to feed him.
You had to eat, didn't you, Snorlax?
Got to eat.
But that was the end of the episode. So we will continue. We're gonna have a mega mashup next week because we're gonna finish the last 4 episodes of the Orange Islands. But let's go back and rate these episodes, bro. So,
Yes.
The Stun Spore Detour. I'm gonna give this one a 3.
Yeah, there's not really much going on. I mean, Misty catches Poliwag, quote unquote,
but we don't see it.
And like I say, the Ash Ketchum style, but at least Ash had the decency to throw Pokeballs at his catches.
Yep. So what? Are you giving it a 3 as well?
Yeah, I don't want to be freaking finicky and say no. It's a 2.5. I mean, it's a 3. I mean, Team Rocket showed a little bit of heart, but it's forgotten the next week.
Yep.
And you could have done any other episode, and as long as you followed it with these last 2, it wouldn't have mattered.
But I'm gonna do something that hasn't been done, and I think I really think you're gonna go down this route. But the next 2 episodes, I'm just gonna give a 5 for both of them because it was so detailed, and we had such an advancement in the story, and Ash actually won because. Spoiler note here, this is the only time you see Ash win a competition like this until the very end of the series. This is
until the very end of the series.
Yes.
For real.
I mean, I think I'm saying that right. I haven't seen every single episode, but I don't think he's won any other unless did he win the Sun and Moon? You know what? I don't even know. I didn't watch that competition.
I couldn't tell you that confidently.
So he might have. People are screaming at me right now, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, I'm gonna give both of these 5. And are you in agreement with this, Doug?
Oh yeah, that's a slam dunk 5.
Okay.
I mean, it was basically 30 minutes of battling. Like if you discount the first 10 minutes of
episode
hello
Pummelo.
If you discount the beginning of that episode, it's basically wall to wall battling.
Yep.
And I mean, you can't get any better than that.
So, all right. Well, I'm not going to forget for you people. Some of you people are listening to this episode, so you can get Pokemon codes. And this week, I have 3 Paldean Fate codes for you. So here are your codes. MT6H-Z26-D-P-R-K-Q-C. Second one, MTZ D9LN-D7-VWTQ. And last one, MVH-BDDH-4YWKQJ. Those are your 3 codes this week. First come, first serve. Sorry if you didn't get it. Do not message me for codes because I'm not giving them out freely to anyone. But those are your codes for this week. So do you have anything else that you want to add to this week, Doug?
No, I can't really say that I do. I would say that, like I say, as time goes on, I'm truly enjoying these mashup episodes.
Absolutely. So easy to get.
I mean, obviously we got a little bit of a bonus this week because our last 2 were basically one long episode.
Yep.
But I mean, when we're able to keep the good flow going for a couple episodes, I think it benefits us as content creators and it benefits you, the listeners. So we're all about that.
So, All right, and a little bit of housekeeping here. This is the last time you're going to hear me say it for this episode. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button on Spotify, everybody. They are the official sponsor of our podcast. And if you do have the money to be able to help support us here, go to patreon.com/every Pokemon and subscribe there, and you can get our shows ad free, and you can get these Pokemon codes in advance, and you'll be able to listen to these episodes before they air on the free feed. So a lot of perks there. Sometimes you'll get extra episodes, or if I'm feeling generous, if we have a backlog, sometimes you'll get 2 episodes in a week. Sometimes that does happen. So go over to patreon.com/every Pokemon, and you can get all of those perks, everybody. But outside of that, Doug, I think we're done this week.
I believe you are correct.
So, all right. So go ahead and say your goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Professor Chris G telling all of you that we'll be back for a Mega Mashup next week, and we get the returning of Gary. Everyone loves Gary. So we'll see you next week, and have a good night.